The headlines from the week that was. Welcome to Sunday Square Off. President Trump's decision to end the DACA program in 6 months puts Congress on the spot to come up with a permanent fix for the program. And dreamers in a world of uncertainty. The Obama-era DACA program, known as Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, shielded undocumented immigrants brought here as children from deportation. For some of Arizona's 28,000 dreamers, that protection could go away within 6 months. These are the key deadlines right now for DACA recipients. If their DACA expires before March 5th next year, they have just 25 days from today to apply for a 2-year renewal. The application fee is $495. They also might have to pay a lawyer. Now, if the DACA status expires after March 5th, it cannot be renewed. Once DACA runs out, recipients are subject to deportation. Now, the Dreamers got support last week from business leaders as well as the faith community. Let's hear now from the number 2 bishop in the Phoenix Roman Catholic Diocese, Eduardo Navarez.
We're here as Catholic bishops to encourage our young people to know that they are in our prayer, in our support, and that we want to help them to go forward in their lucha.
And joining us now are 2 DACA recipients, Corina Iribe Romo, a mother, ASU graduate, student, and advocacy director at Undocumented Students for Education Equity at ASU, and Karina Ruiz, an ASU biochemistry graduate, a mom, and president of the Arizona Dream Act Coalition. Welcome to you both. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to start with a tweet by President Donald Trump last week. It was meant to reassure DACA recipients. Here's what he said: "For all of those that are concerned about your status during the 6-month period, you have nothing to worry about, no action." Now, apparently Nancy Pelosi urged the president to tweet that. So were either of you, and Karina, I'll start with you, were you reassured at all by that tweet?
No, not at all, because I know that come January 2019, when my DACA expires, if there's not a permanent solution, I'm going to be out of luck and I could be put in deportation proceedings.
So you're in that group that has to renew within the next 25 days or so?
I am not in that group.
You're not?
I am not. I have to, my DACA expires in January of 2019.
19?
Yes.
Oh, so you just have to wait and see what happens.
I have to wait, and I cannot even get that extra 2-year period. Yes.
So that's it. And then there's also the question about whether that will be honored at the end of the 6-month period we're in right now.
That has not been clear yet.
What about that?
Yeah,
Karina?
so the initial impression is that if you fall under the renewal time frame, if your DACA expires before the March 5th deadline like mine does, and you renew, that you would have 2 years then of protection. But the more we think about it and read it, that isn't very clear that if at that 6-month period all DACAs will be no longer valid, or if they will honor the renewals up until the 2-year expiration date. And the tweet, honestly, we've had so many tweets from the president and announcements and official things he has said that didn't happen. So there's really no reassurance in our community from anything that comes from the president at this point.
So I mentioned the uncertainty right now. It's greater than that. It's fear. What are the conversations like in your home right now?
Well, I have a 15-year-old that saw me on TV crying, devastated, because I don't know if I'm going to be separated from him and my other 2 children in January of 2019. It is a real fear. We're talking about lives here, about our families. I hear dreamers that their DACA is going to expire on March 9th of 2018, and they tell me, I don't know if I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to be able to pay my home, I'm going to be able to afford putting food in my table.
And we heard Steve King, Republican Congressman Steve King of Iowa, saying we're giving dreamers the permission to go back to live in the shadows. Is that the kind of thing you're preparing for right now?
No.
No.
I know that there is fear. It would be not honest to say that people are not afraid. People are afraid. But there's also this sense of resiliency in our community and of courage. And we are not going to go back into the shadows. We will prepare for what is to come because we are practical people. We need to survive. But it's not about going back to hiding or to being ashamed of who we are. We're ready to continue this fight, and we're going to do so openly.
But the other question about folks might ask, why can't you go back to Mexico or the country where your parents came from?
I actually was able to visit Mexico last month with the Advanced Parole program through a study abroad program. And I found out that I don't belong there anymore. I've lived in the US more than half of my life, 18 years. I have my family here. I have my circles of support here. And even though I am very proud of my roots, I just don't belong there anymore.
And another question I hear, I want to end with this. We also, folks ask, why don't you have legal status right now? You got DACA, why aren't you here legally? What's the answer?
There's a lot of misconceptions about what DACA is. DACA is not a pathway to citizenship. It doesn't provide any avenues. That's why the program was implemented in the first place. So people who say get your citizenship, you should have had it by now, are very misinformed about what are the legal options for people who fall under the DACA eligibility.
All right, I want to put a graphic up that help is available for the next few weeks. There are DACA clinics going on every day starting Monday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Lucha's office. That's at 3120 North 19th Avenue in Phoenix. It is free help. There's also help to pay that $495 application fee, because that's a big bite.
Yeah, there's a fund. There's a fund that we've started as community organizations that people can donate to, and it will be distributed to families, to people in need that need to come up with that money in this very short period of time to renew their DACA. So if you're an ally and you want to know how to help, that's what you can do.
All right, Karina Ruiz and Karina Uribe Romo, thank you so much for joining us.